When XenoBlade Chronicles, an ambitious new JRPG, landed on the Nintendo Wii for the first time, I don't think a lot of people could have predicted just how much of a success it would go on to be. With an engaging storyline, relatable characters, and a deep, rich world, XenoBlade Chronicles would go on to be a runaway sleeper hit for the Nintendo Wii, and brought the main protagonist, Shulk, into Super Smash Bros. And now with the release of the direct sequel, XenoBlade Chronicles 2, I'd say it's time to explore how the latest protagonist could be implemented into a Smash game, especially if they ever release an upgraded Switch port. Let's first talk about the probability of Rex being made a playable character in the first place. XenoBlade Chronicles 2 has grossed the highest opening sales figures of any Xenoblade title so far, with nearly 100,000 copies sold in its first week, performing particularly well in the UK and Japan. Sure, it's not Mario Odyssey or Breath of the Wild level of sales figures, but enough to indicate continued growth for the series, and Nintendo was pretty smart on capitalizing on the holiday season for its release. Nice one, Nintendo. Furthermore, XenoBlade Chronicles 2 will be receiving a season pass with additional story content in late 2018. This indicates continued support for the game long after its release, and if Smash was ever to be released during this time frame, Nintendo would be pretty fucking stupid not to capitalize on the influence of Smash Bros. As a driving force for DLC sales. So I'd say Rex has a pretty good chance. The second thing we need to consider is how unique Rex's moveset would be. The Smash team has usually chosen characters who are able to bring something new to the table. Well, most of the time anyway. And I'm sure there'd be a lot of concern for Rex being just a clone of Shulk. But I think based on the differences between Xenoblade 1 and 2, that there's plenty of room for an original moveset to be implemented. Rex in many ways parallels Shulk's journey, from being a regular scavenger who finds himself thrust into the role of being a driver of a legendary blade known as the Aegis. That also happens to be a woman, who can transform into another woman whenever you want.
Nice.
There are two forms the Aegis can take: Pyra, who grants her driver the elemental power of fire, and Mythra, who grants her driver the power of light. Rex can also use other blade types in the game, but for Smash, I think it'd be best to focus on his ability to switch between Pyra and Mythra as a core mechanic. This can work by mapping the neutral special button to a blade switch mechanic, where Shulk is able to switch between different arts to alter certain stats. Rex could physically change between different blades, that being Pyra or Mythra, to completely change his special moves. Shoutouts to Armagon from Smash Bros for coining this idea. Another thing he suggested is the use of affinity, which is the bond between blade and driver, manifested through a string of light. The closer the distance between driver and blade, the stronger the affinity, therefore increasing the driver's stats. Likewise, the further away from each other, the weaker the driver's stats. It could be interesting if Smash could implement a similar feature where, depending on which blade you're using, Pyra or Mythra could be physically linked to Rex like Luma is to Rosalina. And if your opponent is able to separate Rex from his blade, he would have reduced attack power. Or if your opponent is able to completely knock out his blade, this could temporarily disable some of Rex's special moves. Though the implementation of a secondary character as part of his moveset could pose some problems. The reason Rosalina and Luma work so well is because Luma itself doesn't take up a lot of retail space on the screen, so even with 8 Rosalinas on the one stage, they're still fairly easy to keep track of. But Rex would be a completely different story. Both Pyra and Mythra have human models and take up just as much screen space as Rex. Heck, they're even taller than the guy, so having 8 Rexes physically paired with a much taller female via a string of light is going to look like an absolute clusterfuck at Smash Bros. They could do something like the Pokemon trainer in Brawl, where the respective blade would appear in the background, but then it would be purely for aesthetic purposes, no additional mechanics. One thing they could do instead is have the blades only appear during his specials, which is probably more realistic and easy on the devs, but I do like the idea of having the blade follow Rex around, as it gives an additional element of strategy. Let me know what you think in the comments. Anyways, onto his moveset. In Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Rex is an attacker type, so compared to Shulk, he could be more of a glass cannon, with crazy attack power but low weight, making him easier to knock out. Rex is also shown to be a lot more agile than Shulk, especially in the cutscenes, so this could translate to greater aero mobility. You'll notice that with a lot of Shulk's moves, they often occur in 2 stages. The hilt usually comes out first, followed by the actual blade. This will probably remain the same for Rex, seeing the similarities between the Aegis and the Monado, but I'd imagine the transition could be slightly faster for Rex, to add to his faster speed. Starting with his side smash, which could use the sword bash blade art, where he lunges forward with his sword. This could be a slow but powerful kill move for Rex, similar to Shulk's but with less range. Your down smash could use the spinning edge art, which would be 2 quick sweeps with high range. This could be yet another kill move for Rex that would come out much faster than a side smash. The anchor shot art I actually feel has better application as an up special. Think Zero Suit Samus from Brawl, where she could grapple to the edge to recover. On the ground this could act as an anti-air, bringing enemies back to the ground, like Batman from Injustice. It'd also be pretty cool if this could be implemented for his grab somehow, where he can drag opponents towards him, Scorpion style. Now that would make him very different to the likes of Shulk, as he'd have additional tools at his disposal besides his sword. Now onto his other specials, which will change based on which blade you've equipped. I would assume there could be some kind of cooldown between switching blades as well. With Pyra, his side special becomes Heat, where Rex slices forward for a powerful heat wave, dealing not so much knockback but loads of damage. While with Mythra, his side special becomes Photon, similar to Pyra where he slices forward but with a burst of light and electricity instead, causing high knockback but less physical damage. As for his down specials, with Pyra equipped it could become an Energy Shield, where she jumps right in front of Rex, absorbing damage for health. With Mythra on the other hand, his down special could be Foresight, similar to Shulk's counter move where he'd be able to predict the movements of his opponents and strike back, but with a different graphical flair. I'd imagine this counterattack will have a much smaller window to execute than Shulk's, but with a much higher payoff. And his final smashes could change according to whichever blade he has equipped. With Pyra equipped, his final smash becomes a close range burning sword, and with Mythra equipped, his final smash becomes the devastating Sacred Arrow. From what I've seen, Rex could be a pretty cool addition to the roster, and I think XenoBlade deserves more representation. But what do you think? Do you want Rex in Smash, and if so, how do you see him playing out? Let us know in the comments below, and please like and share this video as much as you can, because who knows, videos like these, if they get popular enough, could make devs consider his inclusion. Maybe, I don't know. But even if he doesn't make it in, it's just fun to speculate and get people thinking on the types of characters we could see. Anyways, thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you all in the next one.